book, but I'm curious what you thought of. I don't want to spoil the end, but I will say that this book was also a coming out book for me to kind of say, I don't know if libertarianism is the movement to preserve the most freedom, and I kind of moved towards more conservative nationalism, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on that, of course, without spoiling the very conclusion.
Lauren, why are you trying to get me in such trouble? Why? What did I thought we were friends, and now you're trying to... Look, I mean, it's an old argument, and of course you touched on the book, though expanded on it, I think, very well, which is that you can have a welfare state, or you can have open borders, but you can't have both, right? Because you got a high IQ population, the welfare state is bad enough. But then if you start getting low IQ populations coming in, the whole thing just falls apart, like an infinite style Jenga, bringing down civilization with it too. So I am quite concerned about libertarianism's focus on open borders. And it seems to me that they focus a lot more on open borders, on opening borders than they do on closing down the welfare state. Because as I've said a million times, if we have a truly free society, and, I'm an anarchist at the core, but I recognize that's a multi-generational project, and we've got a few more important things to work on in the here and now. But I'm very concerned that libertarians are unrecognizing of cultural differences. Like, we're all just general market blobs that we can all assimilate and so on. And it's really, really not very easy to assimilate to disparate cultures, disparate ethnicities and so on, that nobody's been able to figure out how to do that successfully. So I'd really like it if we could slow down the experiment until we figure out whether it's going to work or not. So that to me would be important. But they focus more on opening borders than on closing down the welfare state. And to me, that is a very, very dangerous, potentially civilization destroying approach. So I have some tensions with libertarians at the moment.
And I think, both of us at the core certainly want as small a government as humanly possible. And I have a deep, deep respect for libertarian philosophy and anarchist philosophy. I was just debating a man named Walter Block. Have you heard of him?
I have debated with him as well.
Yeah, have you? I'll have to watch that. But we were talking about open borders, and I was at a Students for Liberty meeting, and I brought up the fact that earlier, a couple years ago when I was with him, he stated that libertarianism is kind of like the rock of Sisyphus. You're forever pushing it to the very top just for it to fall to the bottom, and you can never quite achieve it. You're always trying, but you can never quite achieve that libertarian society you want. And I asked him when we were at this meeting, so how do we achieve this libertarian society? And he quite literally told me, I think the only way is for people to mutate, for there to be some sort of mutation that makes people more likely to not be collectivists, because naturally we're collectivists. Naturally people want, they have this preference for government and socialistic systems and all these things. So he was saying, maybe in 1,000 years we'll have enough mutations that people will all want to be libertarians. And I was saying, well, my biggest quarrel with that is I don't have 1,000 years. I have my lifetime, and I have the lifetimes ahead of me in my generation that I worry about that are going to exist within that time of terrible governments if we don't do something about it now. So that's what's kind of turned me more towards how can I preserve the most freedom possible right now? Not necessarily how am I going to virtue signal that I am a purist the most right now. I'm not interested in virtue signaling. I'm interested in actual change and helping my generation, which is suffering so much right now.